Angela Rayner has announced this morning that progress bulldozes over preservation and the homes of tomorrow risk becoming the dystopian nightmares of today. Once upon a time, the National Planning Policy Framework, the NPPF, insisted that new homes should be beautiful. It was a vague term, indeed, but one that promised to elevate beyond mere utility. Under Angela Rayner's new proposals, this requirement is set to be replaced with something more clinical, well designed. Beauty, it seems, has been deemed an impediment to expediency, a frivolous hurdle showing the race to 1.5 million homes by 2029. Cut to the developers' applause. No more poetic musings about vernacular charm or harmony with the landscape. Instead, a factory line approach to housing that leaves us all, or risks us all, living in boxes and considering ourselves lucky. If ugliness is to reign supreme, where will it reside? And sadly, here's the other shock today. On the Green Belt, England's last bastion against urban sprawl faces the guillotine. A chunk larger than Surrey is to be reclassified as low quality or grey belt, ripe for bulldozing, and the government says this is necessary. Conservationists say it's a sacrilege. The grey belt term allows planners to nibble away protected land under the guise of necessary development. First it was a prison, now it's a pile of boxes. What began as Sir Keir Starmer's cautious proposal to use disused petrol stations has morphed into a carte blanche for redevelopers. The result, a countryside dotted with what campaigners call cow-pat developments, random housing clusters devoid of infrastructure and affordability. And let's consider the implications of this aesthetic retreat. The beauty clause introduced by Michael Gove aimed to inspire homes that respected local character and delighted their communities. Gove himself wielded it like a shield to block uninspired developments, yet now Rayner's reforms prioritise speed and delivery over quality and character. And critics argue beauty is subjective, but does that make it worthless? Is it not the aspiration of beauty that elevates architecture from function to form, from shelter to sanctuary? To abandon this goal risks creating housing that's not merely uninspiring, but demoralising, an eyesore today, a slum tomorrow. Architecture is about walking through, living within art. It's not just an issue of aesthetics, though. It's about the sustainability and the quality of life. The Green Belt is more than a pretty face. It's a bulwark against environmental degradation and urban sprawl, and conservationists warn that Rayner's policies will lead to the worst sprawl since the 1950s, echoing the destruction of the countryside in the 1950s, which led to our creation of the Green Belt and so on, destroying ecosystems, obliterating the very countryside that defines England. Moreover, housing without infrastructure, schools, transport, health services, condemns communities to a frustrating, fragmented existence. Building faster may win headlines, but building poorly will leave scars for generations. It's an extraordinary measure, and the irony here is almost Shakespearean. A Labour government, traditionally seen as a champion of working communities and public welfare, risks alienating the very people it claims to serve, leaving them in a sprawling mass without any access to local shops, local centres, local communities. Angela Rayner's plans to override local objections might achieve numerical targets, but at what cost? NIMBYism, often caricatured, arises from genuine concerns about preserving local character and ensuring adequate services. And when the councils are already demonstrating that they can't do their job, adding more houses in some sort of sprawl across the countryside, is that going to create communities? No. It's going to further fracture our society. Meanwhile, her conservative critics, led by Kemi Badenoch, warn against the creating of a legacy of ugly houses. It's not the ugly house which is the problem. It's the ugly community that results. Kemi Badenoch's rare moment of aesthetic alignment, this rare moment where maybe she leads a call about what is what is good. Remember in Greece, in Greek, ancient Greek, the word for good is the same word as beautiful, kalos. But here, both are rejected in the political calculus of expediency. The rush to meet new housing targets should not sacrifice the very essence of good planning, of quality, sustainability, and yes, beauty. Beauty is about living somewhere that works. The Greenbelt and the aesthetic aspirations of the NPPF are not obstacles to overcome, but values to uphold and cherish. And Angela Rayner should heed these lessons, because if not, her legacy will be one of regret, a landscape scarred, communities fractured, a nation left wondering why we ever abandoned the pursuit of beauty. Why did we do that? Oh, that was Angela. And Angela Rayner will soon come to be a gash in the landscape.